Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Kellie Kelly and I'm so glad you've joined me. Today I'm going to talk to you about the gap between the promise and the process, the gap between the glory and the grind. Listen, if you're walking in success right now, you already know the secret nobody wants to hear. You didn't teleport here. There was no express elevator to the penthouse. And that's exactly why you can't understand the envy, the side eyes, the must be nice comments. Because anyone who's actually arrived knows the truth. By the time you cross the finish line, you're so beaten up by the process and rebuilt that the win doesn't even feel like a win anymore. It feels like proof you survived. Sometimes you need a friend to shake you and say, "Babe, do you not see this? This is literally what you dreamed of." And you're standing there like, is it though? Because the price tag was so high, the journey so tumultuous, that you walked right past the destination without even recognizing it. You want what I have? Cool. But you don't want the cost. You don't want the identity crisis at 3 a.m. You don't want the people who evaporated when things got hard. You don't want the relationships I had to amputate. You don't want the bathroom floor breakdowns, the panic attacks in parking lots. You want the highlight reel. But baby, you can't download the ending without surviving the entire season. And here's where we're all complicit. If you're winning right now and you're letting people toast to your success without telling them about the battles, you're lying to them. Not by what you say, but by what you hide. They deserve to hear about the battles. They need to know you almost quit 27 times. They need to know there were chapters where you absolutely did not have it together, where you were making it up as you went, where you were one bad day away from a full collapse. But something kept you vertical. Some stubbornness, some tiny flame, some voice that whispered, "Not yet." That grit didn't just get you to the dream. It taught you how to be the kind of person who could live in it. It taught you how to rebuild after the divorce papers were signed. It taught you that the supposed rock bottom that you hit and you thought you couldn't get any lower had a trap door. That took you even lower. But you survived falling through it. Don't point at the penthouse. Tell us about the basement. Tell us about the day nothing made sense, but you chose forward motion anyway. Tell us how the path appeared after you started walking, not before. You're celebrating my arrival. I'm celebrating that I didn't abandon myself. That when it was 2 a.m. and I was alone with a screaming infant and no idea what I was doing, I figured it out. That when I thought everyone had left, I realized I was still there. That the degree on my wall should have a dozen names on it, because I didn't do this alone. I did it with every ounce of resilience I could borrow, beg, or steal. Here's what I need you to hear. Don't wait for the finish line to start living. You can meet yourself right here, in the mess, in the middle, in the confusion. You can build the relationship today. You can parent with intention right now. You can learn the lessons that no classroom, no mentor, no guru could ever teach you. Life doesn't hand you dreams on a platter. It hands you the raw ingredients and a recipe written in a language you don't speak yet. But it also gives you everything you need to figure it out, one burnt meal at a time. You're going to get betrayed. People are going to misunderstand you on purpose. You're going to need shelter when the storm hits. You're going to need people who show up mid-crisis, not just at the celebration. And here's the wild part. Those people exist. They're not waiting for your victory lap. They're willing to sit with you in the wreckage. I'm talking to someone who's stuck in the thick of it right now. Someone who can see the vision but can't see the next step. Someone who's asking, okay, I believe in the destination, but what about today? And the answer is, you're being held today. You're being equipped right now. Your doubts want you to believe that the middle is where dreams die. But that's the lie. The middle is where greatness happens. The middle is where you become unbreakable. The middle is where your dreams stares you in the face and says, you can handle this. Maybe you don't recognize the person you're becoming. Maybe you can't see the other side and you're terrified you won't make it. But here's the one thing I know for certain. If you have strength in this moment, the future is inevitable. The finish line isn't a question mark, it's a period. The vision is already secure. Your dedication made it non-negotiable the moment you claimed it. But the execution, that's on you. That's where the enemy attacks. Not your dream, but your discipline. The dream is locked in. The grind is the variable. Obstacles are coming. They're not a sign you're off track. They're a sign you're on the path. Promise and process are a package deal. You want the mountaintop? Great. Now show me how you're training for the climb. We're so good at receiving visions. We vision board like champions. We even have parties for our visions. But the execution phase, that's where we get fragile, where we start doubting, where we whisper, maybe this wasn't meant for me. But you have to weld those two concepts together in your mind. No grind, no glory. The struggle is normal. The breakdowns are on schedule. This is why we need people to tell the whole story. Because when you only show me the after photo, I assume I'm doing it wrong when my before phase looks like a crime scene. When you don't share the process, I think I'm uniquely broken. I think I'm the only one whose marriage is teetering. I think I'm the only one who walked into that meeting and said the dumbest possible thing. But when you pull back the curtain and say, girl, let me tell you about the time I almost set my life on fire, suddenly I can breathe. Suddenly I realize shaky seasons are part of the blueprint. Suddenly I know that confusion is a chapter, not the whole book. Share your scars. We need generational wisdom. We need people ahead of us and people behind us, because someone represents the destination and someone else represents the dirt road to get there. I need to know how you survived when the world went sideways. I need to know that the same resilience that carried you exists in me too. Tell me about your breakthroughs and your breakdowns. I need the whole map. The promise isn't universal, it's conditional. It comes with requirements. You have to become the kind of person who can hold it. And here's the hard truth you're not going to like. Some of your obstacles are winning because you're not doing your part. Sometimes life lets the floor fall out from under you specifically so you'll stop pretending you're standing on solid ground. Sometimes the collapse is the intervention. Some walls won't come down until you get humble, until you admit, I've been serving my fear. I've been serving my ego. I've been worshiping my image or someone else's image, but I want to serve my truth. You want to stop an obstacle dead in its tracks? Surrender where you used to fight. Get soft where you used to be hard. You can dismantle an obstacle the second you realize, I've been feeding fear, doubt, addiction, insecurity, and that's why my life looks like a rerun. Same drama, different cast. These relationships are toxic because I'm negotiating from a wound. These business deals are failing because I'm leading with ego instead of excellence. But the second you stop serving anything that doesn't align with your highest self and say, I'm done, I'm humbling myself, I'm changing teams, that obstacle loses its power. Fear and doubt, you don't run this anymore. The moment you realign with your purpose, the thing that was blocking you has to step aside. Some of you have obstacles that have been winning for years because you've been loyal to the wrong things. But here's the thing. If you serve your purpose, the rest will be handled. If you serve your calling, the obstacles will become irrelevant. If you serve your growth, and the attacks lose their sting. There's an obstacle with your name on it, but I've learned to pivot. So when I see obstacles forming, I pause. I ask, is this obstacle exposing something? Am I off course? Is this a correction or a distraction? Sometimes obstacles are wake-up calls. Sometimes they're just noise meant to test your focus. I want to talk to the person who's doing everything right and still feels like they're losing. The person who's in complete alignment and still sees the attacks coming. Don't flinch. Because if you're truly aligned, you don't need to defend yourself. Stay in your lane. Keep building. Let life handle the opposition. You'll find yourself at a table, unbothered, while your critics are still scheming in the parking lot. They thought this would stop you. The obstacles have to get close so everyone can see them fail in real time. Here's the bottom line. The promise comes with a process. Your only job is to survive it. And I know that sounds simple, but the process is relentless. It doesn't clock out. It doesn't take holidays. It's a 24/7 operation, and it will test every single part of you. Forget the promise for a second. Just survive the process. How? How do you make it through? You stay connected to your center. Not the dream, yourself. Sometimes you can't hold the vision anymore. It's too far away, too blurry, too painful to think about. So just hold yourself. Just stay connected to your own heartbeat. Invite strength into this moment, not into the future, into now. Have you ever been so deep in the trenches that the destination became irrelevant? Where you stopped caring about the 5-year plan and just needed to survive the next 5 minutes? Where you weren't praying for success, you were praying for sanity. Write this down. Tattoo it on your soul if you have to. The process isn't producing the promise. It's producing the person who can hold it. The moment you named your dream, it was already yours, signed and notarized. Your process isn't creating the outcome, it's creating you. The version of you that's strategic enough, strong enough, wise enough to walk into that promise and not crumble under the weight of it. So stop asking if the dream is going to happen. It's happening. Now the only question is, who are you becoming in the meantime? That's all I have for today, but let's continue the conversation in the comments and be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to my page. And always remember in the gap between your process and the promise that you are loved and worthy. See you next time.